Welcome back to LOS Live, sponsored by Premier Lending. And today, guys, we've got somebody really special. A couple of decades in the industry, serving thousands and thousands of people. And man, at the end of the day, just one really, really awesome gal with a huge team behind her. I've got Sherry Riano with the Sherry Riano team. And welcome to the show. Super excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I got the pleasure of hearing you talk a couple weeks back on Scotty's show, Scott Hudspeth over at MLO Live.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I just love the way that, you came across just so honest and just, straightforward. I feel like we're at a place in this industry, we need more of that, and I was like, man, we got to get Sherry over here.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate, again, you having me because I love spreading the word and doing all the things that, sometimes don't get done in our industry, is just talk about what we do and how it should be done and maybe sometimes how it shouldn't be done.
Amen. Amen. Well, we talked a little in the green room and, you were telling me a little bit about, your background and coaching and allowing for the coaching to kind of pour into you and then putting that back into your business. Talk about that.
Sure. I've been doing this for 24 years, and 12 years ago, I decided that I wanted to grow. I wanted to be more like a real estate team, obviously, have people around me that could do all the things, because as a loan officer, you get capped at some point.
Yeah.
You can't visit your agents. You can't, do all the things if you can do is sit behind a desk, and your agents need to see you. And it causes this up and down, and nobody wants to live in that economic dynamic. So I met Scott, and he introduced me to Carl White, and I did coaching with Carl for a lot of years. And then also went coaching with Brad Roach, who's the mortgage planner. Both of them are amazing coaches and all they offer and teach us. And I just took it and I just absorbed it like a sponge. I hired my first LOA. That took me from about, 3-4 million. Then I actually popped up to 6. And so, I've grown as we have grown in the industry. So, I've added more LOAs. I've lost some. I've added some. It's kind of some of the things that we go through, right? Everybody isn't the perfect fit. The glass slipper isn't everything that it might give you corn. So you have to remove it.
I've had a few of those.
But the great thing is that you've got to be willing to, this is what I was told years ago, and it's so true. You've got to be willing to fire fast. Right. Because if they're not the right fit, it can really kind of cancer your whole team. And then that can become a tremendous heartache. And nobody wants that. So, you want to make sure you've got the right fit. And that's one of the things that the coaching did help me with. And I really, really appreciated it. I'm crazy passionate about people having homes. I'm crazy in love with all my real estate agents. They're amazing. And I've spent my time from really the first 12 years of my career I was a refi queen. Turn them in, turn them out, in and out. It was so easy and smooth. And then, refis kind of stopped there for a while. Not like we have now, but we slowed down for a while. And so I realized I didn't have any realtors. And I'm like, what am I going to do? You go from doing all these refis to having nothing to do. And I was like, well, I've got to eat and I like this business and I want to get people in a home. So let me figure out what I had to do. And so I got into organizations and started working. I worked with the Women's Council, any event I could go to. And, I just treated my realtors with the utmost respect. They are my clients first and foremost. And I know that if I'm not on point with their client, they can't be mine. And I didn't want to lose them. So I really went out there with that mindset. I wasn't one just to walk out and ask you for business if you were a realtor. I just wouldn't walk up to you and go, hey, you want to do business? I mean, I literally have had and seen lenders do that. I'm like, what? You're not building any rapport. What are you doing? And I'm really lucky. I have been blessed that I have built some long-term relationships that have taken me many places, opened many doors, taught me many things. I'm lucky enough to have a marketing person that is insanely crazy. If you see my marketing, it's all her. It's not me. She tells me
The
what to
who, not
do.
you. The who, not
Yeah.
you.
I was smart enough to hire her.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she was working with one of my realtors who's still a good realtor, but she decided she didn't want to use her anymore. And I knew from the moment I met her, she was a rock star. I was like, I got
Yeah.
to have you. So
Yeah.
she's been one of my longest tenures, just has not left my side. And we were talking earlier today. I'm like, please don't ever leave me, is what I said. Please, please.
Yeah.
So, those are things that are important,
They
having
are.
those contacts, being out there and making realtors understand that I'm in it with them. Like
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
team works 7 to
You're on the
7,
field.
7 days a week, right?
Yeah.
And
That's
so
it.
we're
Yeah.
we're always available, but it isn't always me.
Yeah.
I did the first 12 years that way and it was rough. And I thought, I don't want to do that again. And so
Right.
building the team allowed me to have, as Carl says, with Freedom Club, is to have freedom,
Yeah. Yeah.
and to set the right expectations. And so that's really what I've set out to do. And working with clients, I talked to a first time home buyer over the weekend because I happen to be working, by the way.
Mhm.
I do still work on the weekends.
Yeah.
That explained to me that, a couple years ago they got pre approved, but they never knew closing cost, escrow. They never got it broken down. Here's just what you're going to bring. And then I remember them saying to me, we were never told what we could really maximum afford. We were only told
Right.
one number and we never knew that. So lucky for me, they didn't end up executing back in the last couple of years. And now they've come back out and want to do it now. And I think that I have definitely earned their trust.
Right.
They already give me a 5-star review and I haven't even done anything other than have a conversation.
Well,
And I
you've
think
done
that's
something.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've done
right?
something. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
I I can't tell you how many times I hear, I was never explained that. I
Yeah.
didn't know that existed. And it just kind of breaks my heart because there's a
Agreed.
lot of us that are very, very good at what we do. We're
Right.
passionate. We know how hard this industry is and how hard a
Yeah.
transaction can be.
That's it.
And so we
That's
want to
it.
make it as smooth as
Well,
possible.
people need a real
Educate.
consultation. They need a real
Mm-hmm.
consultation. They need to know that they're talking to somebody who's going to help guide them through. And even if they don't think they need that, they still need that, right? I don't care how many times you
Right.
purchase a home. There's new products, new programs, processes change, and you need somebody that's going to take the time to tell you what the expectations are, right? But I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna put the brakes on real quick, and I'm gonna go backwards just a little bit because
Okay.
I love what you said here, but I want to tackle a couple things. So, one of
Okay.
the things you said earlier on, and I just want to make sure that you heard this right, guys, is she said, hey, you got to have the right people and you got to know how to hire and fire fast. And what you mean by that, right, is that not necessarily that we don't want to provide training, right? That's not the problem. What you're
Totally.
talking about there is hiring the wrong person who can poison your organization. You've got to pinpoint those people out, right? Because we can always
Mm-hmm.
help people that want to be helped and that have a great attitude and want to move forward in the right direction, right? But
Absolutely.
sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you get those poison people, right? And when you poison the water hole, everything dies. And a lot of the times you don't know where to spot it because you don't know where it's coming from. I tell people all the time, when you find that person, man, run. Like
Mm-hmm.
run the other direction as fast as
As
you
fast as
can
you
possibly.
can.
Yeah, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to touch on that, but that was just a glimpse of what you said because this is what I really loved. You said, I was in the refinance business for years. I didn't build any relationships. The market changed, and I woke up one day and realized I didn't necessarily have a real business, and I wanted to find a way to change that, and you did. But let's
Right.
take that point and let's talk to some loan officers out there that are struggling with exactly that right now. You're finding yourself in that place, Sherry. What do you do?
Okay. You go out and you try to be at events that realtors are at, whether it be a business networking event. Like I said, I joined the Women's Council. It's really
Yeah,
how I got my first little lift off. Did a lot of volunteering there for the community and the realtor community and got
yeah,
to know people. And it was important to me because I I will fire an agent as fast as I'll fire a client. Okay.
yeah.
If you're not good to my people and you're not
Mm,
respectful to my people or me, I don't want to work with you. Now, I wish you love, peace, and happiness. Okay.
yeah,
And I want the best for you, but I may not be the best. And I'm okay with that. A lot of people have told me over the years, especially now, because I'm lucky. I'm like 1% top producer in the
oh,
country.
you are.
I get that. So, but I know people think today, well, that's easy for you to say today. Well, no, it was easy for me to say when I didn't have anybody, because I don't want to work with people that I can't be happy with, right? If
Amen.
it's the same thing as like hiring a toxic person to be at your team, right?
Yeah.
Because that toxic is
They're going to
coming into
poison your
you.
team.
Well, they're poisoning you. So then you
Yeah.
don't have a good attitude, and then
That's it.
that's not good. So,
Yeah.
I would suggest going to any organization where a realtor is going to be
Yeah.
and building some legitimate relationships.
Yeah.
Because if you don't build relationships with realtors, they will not use you long term, right?
Yeah.
They may for a quick minute, but they
Right.
won't really, because they don't get to know you. And
That's it.
I make a point to go to lunch with my realtors, hang out with my realtors, because, well, one, I like them, so I enjoy
Yeah.
doing it. I
Yeah.
feel blessed to have them in my life, and I think they know that.
Yeah.
But I've also heard stories of where, when you're a loan officer, sometimes, they have to give out multiple names sometimes. They just feel the need,
Mhm.
or client doesn't click with you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I have heard story of story where loan officers will call an agent and then get mad about that. They can't
Right.
get mad, right? You got to love on them. So the thing is, be in those places. Don't find toxic people, whether they're in your team or they're
Right.
an agent or a title insurance, whatever. Just don't be around those people. You want to be around happy people because it makes you
Yeah.
happy. Your job gets better, and you'll find your team and yourself, just your individual self, will grow so much faster.
I love that. So get out there, get yourself in some sort of an association,
Mhm.
go to where the realtors are, and,
Mhm.
don't go out there cup in hand asking for business, right?
Right.
Go out there and build some meaningful relationships with people that you love to spend time with. And guess what? And I can tell you, because Sherry's being modest here, I know she said top 1%, but I've seen her production report, guys, and that's why I wanted to bring her on the show. She's hitting some massive numbers, right? Massive numbers. And how are you doing that? Building relationships with people that you want to work with and giving them
Yep.
great service, right?
Mhm.
At the end
Mhm.
of the day, I can only imagine, what that process looks like.
Yeah, I finesse it all the time. We've recreated stuff just in the last week.
Yeah.
But I always want to get better, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm starting to all in with AI. Yeah, I've built my whole marketing person, everything I've got
Mhm.
massively rebuilding. So, because I believe it is part of the future. And if I think it is, I'm going to jump on it because I want to be a part of that, because I don't want to get
Yeah.
left behind. I mean, I'd
Right.
love to tell you I'm a spring chicken, but I'm not. But I'm smart enough to know I don't want to be left behind.
Yeah.
So that's important to me. So
Yeah.
that's kind of
Well,
my
I
gig
think,
here.
diving into AI, there's things that we can use AI for to complement our business, right? But
Hmm.
at the same time, I also think it's important to get out there. Don't leave the relationship side of the business, right? And I know that's not what you're saying, but I want to make sure that we get it out there
Uh-huh.
because there's a lot of cool things. In fact, I use AI literally on the daily, right?
On the
There's not a
daily.
day that goes by that I'm not doing something with AI, that my systems aren't working with AI in the background, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to, your good old fashioned relationships, those are going to be really important, regardless as to what computers end up doing, because your agents are going to work with people that they know, like, and trust. And you want to be working with people that you enjoy, right?
Yep.
And I can tell you right now, I promise there's people listening right now going, man, sometimes I get that call from that one person. I just want to slam the phone down because I can't stand them. What Sherry's saying, get rid of them, replace
Uh-huh.
them. And if you're going, man, I can't do that. Sure. How can they do that? How do they get to replace somebody?
Yeah. They can. They got to put the
Yep.
work in and the
Yep.
effort. And you know what? You're right. Trust me when I say I am all in on AI, but I'm not ever going to lose the ability to go belly to belly.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
that's everything, right? AI can never take me and what I
That's it.
do and what I offer. Can it do some cute things? Yes, but I don't believe it will be able to give the value I give, is not only a mortgage lender and a
Yeah.
confidant and all the things that my real estate agents have come to know and expect of me. I don't
Yeah.
think it'll ever give it. And you've got to be that for people. And again, it's hard, but if someone is toxic to your life, you've got to just, again, say, hey, I really like you
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I appreciate you, but I don't feel like it's a good fit. And hey, find some, if you know that person may have another person that that's a loan officer that would be, their relationship, it wouldn't bother me. Okay, well, introduce them.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that it's not hurting you because they're toxic, right? So
Yeah.
that's but they may not be toxic to the other person. Look,
They may fit
everybody,
in. They may be,
they,
peas and
they
carrots,
may
man.
be
They may just get
their
together.
slipper,
Yeah.
right?
That's
Let them
it.
be their
100%.
slipper.
I
But
love
again, I keep going back. If it's giving me a corn,
it.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
So
Those shoes don't fit me well, right?
that's right. You
Those aren't my
always
shoes.
they're not my shoes. Don't put my size 10 in a 7 because that's gonna hurt. Um, but I still believe that you can do it with respect because you
Yeah.
never know where you'll be in life. And if you always treat people well,
Yeah.
they'll never forget it. They may not
Yeah.
like you, but they won't forget that, and they'll always respect you. And that's really all you can ask for.
Yeah. Well, I want to go back to something real quick.
Okay.
So, you flip the switch and you go from being, focused on refis to transitioning into purchase. And let's just put this
Mhm,
into a frame of like time, right? How
mhm.
long would you say that it took you, to really get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm getting relationships. This is working out well. I'm starting to see things transition, because again, some people, we're in a now world, right? People want it
Mhm.
right now. And unfortunately, that's not how a lot of things work in this world, even though we will them to, they're not always going
Mhm.
to. So, in a
Right.
realistic setting, somebody who is trying to go from I have no relationships, right,
Mhm.
to not necessarily I'm hitting where Sherry's hitting, but man, I feel like I'm in a groove. Things are actually starting to go pretty
Yeah.
well for me. If they're doing the right activity, going to the right
Right.
places, what does that look like?
I mean, again, my biggest advice to anybody is to invest in yourself
Yeah.
first.
Yes.
Okay. Go back to the coaching.
Mm,
That's what I did. That's how it
yeah.
converted for me. I swear it was a timing thing to meet Scott
Yeah.
and Carl, and it all just lined up for me. So,
Yeah.
I was lucky enough that in the first, 3 to 6 months, I was chugging along with 1.5 million, 2 million of purchase money, right?
That's great.
Because I also,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna speak for myself, I had to change my mindset from Miss Refi to purchase. There's a
Mm,
lot more moving in purchase than there is in refi, right? You
there
talk to the
is.
wife, you talk to the husband, life is great. You not on this other side. So it took me a little while to put in gear, but I did get there. And I think again, if I had one person sitting in front of me, I would say, go to coaching, listen to what they tell you, and
Yeah.
apply it immediately. Don't
Yeah.
go take a bunch of notes and go home and do the same thing you've done before because it
Thank you.
will not work.
I'm going to kind of take a page from that book because, when I first started doing coaching as well, and I've always managed large teams, but I think anybody can take away from coaching. There's always things that we can learn. I don't care how far
Mhm,
you are in your career. If you're not getting some sort of coaching, listening to podcasts, reading books, right, and educating yourself, right, how are you ever going to get to the top of your game, right?
mhm,
But just like Sherry's talking about, I remember being front row every event. Why? Because I know I'm going to pay attention. There's nobody in front of me or behind me, right? Except for the people
mhm.
that I want to listen to because I'm paying to be there, right?
Right.
And not only am I taking notes in my handbook, but at the same time, because I do have a who, like you, Sherry, I have my chat pulled up and I'm literally sending commands as, hey, we're starting this on Monday. Hey, get this on my books for tomorrow. Hey, I need this going right now. Why? Because one of my core values is action. And it goes back to exactly what you're talking about. You can hear great ideas, but if you don't get out and actually put it to work immediately, it's just an idea and it's never going to take you anywhere, right? So
That's
you've got to
correct.
take that idea, put it to action, and that's where you're going to start to see things really change because otherwise you're just repeating the definition of insanity by doing the
Mhm.
same thing that wasn't working over and over and over again.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just no, don't do it. Don't do it. Always, my thing is I'm queen of action. You give me something to do. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And I think that's important.
Yeah,
It speaks to who and what you are. Act on it. Get out there. Invest in yourself. And
just
like you
do
said,
it.
okay, and I do understand right now, this market is really hard.
Yeah,
I would not look at any new LO in any kind of eye and say that it's not.
right.
I think it's harder than what we went through in 2008. That's my
I
personal
agree with you.
opinion of
No,
where we
I do.
were.
I was there too. I agree with you.
So I think we all are feeling things we've never felt before, but it is putting your head down, grinding every day, and
Yeah,
doing the actions.
that's
I
it.
think the biggest
Yeah,
thing that Carl's all about, act, do
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Call
We got to have
somebody.
a burning desire. That's one of the things that
Yes.
he says all the time. There's got to be a burning desire. And if you don't have that burning desire, you're not ever going to do it. Right. It's
Yeah.
almost like this, and this is scary to say, but and nor am I going to do this, but having somebody hold your head underwater and wanting it so bad that you will do
Yeah.
anything to come up and breathe. Like that's what you've got to do if you really want success in your business, right?
Yep.
And if
Yep.
you're not willing to endure that, it's okay. But you may not see the success that you really want, right? If you're not pushing for it the same way that you want to breathe air, right? And so,
Exactly.
yeah, it's not for
Exactly.
everybody. Not everybody wants to make millions of dollars a year like Sherry, right?
Mm. I don't know about that, but what I do know is that I want those numbers to be reflective of the people that get into
Yeah.
homes.
Well,
There's the
that's why you do
power
so
of
well.
what we do,
Yeah.
and if you're an LO and you don't understand the power we have
Yeah.
for our communities to see people in homes, then I want you to find another career.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's really, we get paid so well based off of what we do. We do.
Yep.
And I know and I don't take for granted. I mean, what we do is not easy,
No.
but it's also not so difficult that we can lose sight of people over money. People are the reason we're here.
That's
And
it.
it's agents, it's, our title agents, it's, our appraisers, you
Yeah.
name it. I've got some of my best friends, appraisers, attorneys, title agents,
Taking care of
because
people, Cherry, is what you're talking
yes.
about. You gotta
And they
take care
see
of
it,
people.
and
Yeah.
then they refer it. So
Yep.
you're good to people, people will
Good
see
things
it.
will come back to you. Yeah.
Amen. Comes back
I
in
don't
spades.
disagree with any of that, right? We've always heard, do unto others as, you would do
Amen.
unto yourself, right? And at the end of the day, I couldn't agree with you more. And what I've found, because I've interviewed a lot of top tier professionals from East Coast to West Coast, right? And the people that are great, the ones that are doing just amazing out there in this industry, they're doing it for the right reasons. Every one of them says the same thing. It's never about this one transaction that made them a bunch of money or about how much money that they're making or putting into the bank. It's always about how they're helping people and how they're helping people, with all their heart, right? Like just pouring into everybody that they touch. And those are the people that are out there having great success in any industry. So, pour into your people, love on the people that, you serve, and that love's going to come back in return. What a great message, Sherry.
It does. It does.
Yep.
It does all in all ways. Remember, a lot of times I'll use an example with every company I've ever worked at. What's very important to me is that I'm not against ops. I'm with them. I need ops.
Yes.
A lot of LOs, I can't stand that underwriter. I can't stand that glue. Without them, I can't do my job. Now, I realize without me, they don't have the opportunity to, but I need them as much as they need me.
That's right.
Right? And this them against us, no. We're a team.
It's a team.
And
they're part of our family.
Love on them. You gotta, send them a
Well,
little cookie bag or something. Do something.
Going up. Yeah, I heard the saying as a kid, and I have a feeling that, you probably live by this one too. It's you get more flies with honey than vinegar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I've always been a honey kind of guy, when you just love on the underwriters and love on the operational people and, and work with them as a team, right? Like you said, like, hey, we may not always agree on it, but hey, let's talk about what is it that you're not getting past, right? And like, hey, how can we come together on these terms? Hey, what if we provided this? Do you think that would work? And man, when you start having those conversations, what you'll find is that they actually open up. They're like, well, actually, here's what my concern was, but yeah, I like what you said there. If you could get that for me, I think I'd be perfectly fine with your file. And then all of a sudden, you're closing a client.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. Doing that this morning, I had a little challenge, was told something couldn't get done. And I'm like, okay, well, let's look at it this way. And I went through what I was seeing, because sometimes we get emotional as loan officers, right?
We
and
do.
that's okay if it's emotional for the right thing, right?
That's it. Yeah.
So let's go through it step by step. Why would this not be a sellable loan? Why would this not be a transaction that we could move on to secondary? Because I don't want a company to have a buyback because I'm not thinking ahead. It costs money. So, and we got it done. So this morning we were doing our normal team meeting. I do it every Monday. And we sat down, went through our pipeline, and then we said, hey, we've got 3 loans. Will you look at them? And I was like, yep. We looked at all 3, brought a processor in, got an agreement.
It's perfect.
Now they're all loans. We found a path for every one of them.
Amen. Amen. And by the way, borrowers, if you're listening in, this is why you work with a professional like Sherry and her team, because this is the kind of stuff that goes on behind closed doors that you don't know about, right? There's
Yeah.
often times where loan officers get a deal and they don't understand how to fight for you. They don't understand how to present the right package, put the right pieces together to hand that off and get the team behind it to support it. But the one thing that Sherry knows, which is what I know, is that there's a borrower behind every single transaction. In fact, often multiple borrowers. It is our duty to get you guys to the closing table, right? Like that's what we're here for. And when you're working with the great ones, right? The ones that care like that have a team and put a committee together and go through it, cross the T's and dot the I's and look at the guidelines and find a way to win, right? That's when you know you were working with a professional. And Sherry, you are that professional.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's what I get up every day and I live for. Again, how many people can we get in a home?
I love it. Well, what have we not tackled today that we should have?
Oh, I don't know. There's so much we could tackle. This could be like hours of conversation.
I know. Part 2, part 10.
I know we could be going through it. Well, I'll go back to the loan officers that are out there working. Just keep working. Don't give up. If you truly believe that this is where you need to be, don't find you a mentor. If you feel like, because again, I don't know everybody's economical dynamic, but I can promise you there's plenty of people like you and I sitting out here. Have a question, ask. If you need help, if I can help you, I will.
That's right.
You know, I'm not an LO that thinks I got to hide everything because you don't take my business. Good God, there's so much business out here. And even now, there's still good business out here to be had if you do it the right way.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the abundance mindset talking. You know, you've got an abundance mindset because you know that there's more than enough. And at the end of the day, when you're helping somebody, that's just going to lead back to more positive things for you. And guys, you know, another thing that Sherry mentioned, you know, hey, if you do need, you know, just a question, feel free to drop a comment or hop right on my calendar, right? Same thing with Sherry. And if you are ever looking for a lender that provides coaching, believe it or not to step into Sherry's arena, but Premier Lender, we provide coaching, right? That's actually part of what we do here. So, you know, if you're looking for that team and you can't afford coaching, I can. So
there you go. There you go.
Let's get back to North Carolina and let's talk about you, Sherry. So when the folks out there want to find you, what states do you serve?
I serve Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, going into Colorado.
Yeah, there we go.
That's where we are right now, and Tennessee, getting ready to pop back into Tennessee. So you know, if you've got somebody moving there and they need help, love to help them.
Call Sherry and her team. You know, you're going to get great service. And, you know, again, she's got great connections too. She talked about it before. It's not just her agents, but her appraisers and inspectors, right? All the people out there that you need to know. Those folks are in her Rolodex. And guess what? They become your resources too. And that's why you want to work with somebody great like Sherry and her team. So, and what's the name of the company? What is your brand, Sherry?
My brand is the Sherry Riano team, and you can find me at thesherryrianoteam.com. Or you can call my team line at 919-234-7415, and someone on my team will answer the phone.
There it is, guys. There it is. And they will answer. And if you didn't have time to jot that down, it probably just ran across the bottom of the screen. But if you're driving, don't wreck the car. Just pull over when you get a chance, and it'll be in the description because we always want you to find our folks on here and make sure you're doing working with great people out there like Sherry and Sherry's team. So, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah, no, super. And again, I already knew, guys, was I wrong? Right? Like just, you know, one of the best in the biz. And that's why I had to bring her over here and showcase what she's doing out there. So, hey, keep coming back and tuning in to LOS Live. Find us on the internet, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, all the different networks. We're there. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And go over to Sherry's channel and subscribe to hers too. And make sure you do some commenting over there as well. But until the next time,
my friend,
we'll see you then.
Thank you.